Picture this. A boy from Busan, who once just dreamed of becoming a dancer, now holds stock worth more than 21 billion won. That's roughly 16 million US dollars. Not from singing, not from concerts, but from a piece of paper he quietly held onto for more than 5 years, without ever selling a single share. His name is Park Jimin. You probably know him as the lead vocalist of BTS, the baby machi who's made ARMY around the world fall in love. But today, we're not going to talk about his stage life. We're going to talk about a side of Jimin that rarely gets exposed, how he quietly transformed into one of the wealthiest young investors in South Korea. And what makes this story even more interesting is that he's not alone. Two of his group mates, V and Jungkook, turn out to be following the exact same strategy. All three just landed on a prestigious list, South Korea's top 100 youngest, wealthiest shareholders. How does a K-pop idol break into a world usually dominated by conglomerates and seasoned business tycoons? Stick around until the end, because I'm going to break down the whole story, from how it began to what it means for Jimin and BTS's future. Okay, before we dive into the jaw-dropping numbers, let's rewind a bit. Who exactly is Jimin? Park Jimin was born in Busan, South Korea, on October 13, 1995. From a young age, he showed remarkable talent for dance. He studied at Busan High School of Arts, focusing on modern dance, and was known as one of the most talented students at his school. An instructor even recommended he audition for an entertainment agency called Big Hit Entertainment. Jimin took that audition, passed, and at age 16 officially became a trainee. The trainee years are notoriously brutal. Hours of dance and vocal practice every day, mental pressure, and the uncertainty of whether he'd ever actually debut. But Jimin held on. In 2013, that dream became reality. Jimin officially debuted as one of the 7 members of Bangtan Sonyeondan, known today as BTS. He took on the roles of lead vocalist and main dancer, 2 positions that demand extremely high technical skill. From there, we all know the story. BTS exploded, not just in Korea, but across the entire world. They broke Billboard records, performed at the UN, met with presidents, and changed how the global music industry viewed Asian boy bands. Jimin himself released several hit solo tracks, like Lie on the Wings album in 2016, Serendipity on Love Yourself, Her in 2017, and Filter on Map of the Soul, 7 in 2020. Serendipity even became the first BTS member solo song to surpass 100 million views on YouTube. But success on stage is one story. The story we're about to dive into is how that success quietly turned into something far more strategic, long-term asset ownership. Now let's get into the core of it. This whole story traces back to one pivotal moment in 2020. At that time, BTS's parent company, Hybe, was preparing for its IPO, its initial public offering on the stock market. This was a massive moment for the Korean entertainment industry because Hybe wasn't just a regular agency anymore. It had become a business giant thanks to BTS's global success. Ahead of that IPO, Hybe's founder and majority shareholder, Bang Si-hyuk, made a rather surprising decision. He granted common stock to all 7 BTS members for 178,695 shares each. This wasn't salary, and it wasn't a concert bonus. It was direct ownership in the company. Why did Bang Si-hyuk do this? From a business standpoint, it makes sense. BTS was Hybe's single most valuable asset. Much of the company's value was built on the popularity and work of these 7 members. Giving them shares was Bang Si-hyuk's way of recognizing their contribution, while also tying them more closely, financially, to the company's future. Every BTS member received the same number of shares. But what happened next is where things get interesting. Not every member took the same approach with those shares. This is, in my opinion, the most fascinating part of the entire story. After receiving Hybe shares in 2020, Jimin, along with V and Jungkook, chose not to sell a single share. As of the latest report released in late December 2025, all 3 were reported to still be holding their entire original stock package, with no significant sales. In the world of investing, this strategy has a name: the holding strategy, or holding onto an asset long-term. The principle is simple. If you believe an asset's value will keep rising over time, you don't rush to sell the moment the price ticks up a little. You hold it, letting its value grow naturally alongside the company's performance. And that strategy paid off. Since Hybe's IPO in 2020, the company's stock value has continued to grow alongside the business's expansion, driven by BTS's sustained success, expansion into other artists, and international business collaborations. Because Jimin, V, and Jungkook kept holding onto their shares, their personal wealth grew right along with Hybe's performance. Interestingly, not every BTS member took the same approach. Other members like jhope, RM, and Jimin were also reported to hold significant Hybe stock assets, valued above 10 billion won each. But they were known to have made some adjustments or diversified their investment portfolios, meaning they didn't fully hold on to all their shares the way Jimin, V, and Jungkook did. This reveals something interesting. Even within the same group, each member has a different financial philosophy. Some choose to hold, others choose to spread out risk through diversification. Both are valid approaches in the world of investing, but as we're seeing now, the outcomes can be very different. Now, let's talk numbers, because these numbers are exactly what made this story go viral. According to a report released in late December 2025 by CEO Score, a South Korean corporate data research firm, Jimin, V, and Jungkook each hold stock in publicly listed companies worth approximately 21.4 billion won. Converted, that's roughly 16 million US dollars each. That figure alone was enough to land their names on the list of South Korea's top 100 youngest, wealthiest shareholders in the under 30 age category. This is a list typically filled with the children of conglomerates or young entrepreneurs who built their businesses from scratch. But now, 3 names from the K-pop world have broken into that list. To give you a sense of how competitive this ranking is, the same report noted that the combined stock value of the top 100 young shareholders in Korea jumped sharply, rising by nearly 70 trillion won compared to the previous year, reaching a total of 177.2 trillion won as of December 19, 2025. At the very top of the overall shareholder ranking, across all ages, sits names like Samsung Electronics chairman Lee Ji-young, whose stock holdings exceed 23 trillion won. Even Bang Si-hyuk himself, Hybe's founder, ranked 10th overall, with stock assets worth around 4.1 trillion won. So while Jimin, V, and Jungkook's wealth is still far from conglomerate tier levels, the fact that 3 musicians in their 20s managed to break into this prestigious list is, in itself, a remarkable achievement. Beyond his Hybe shares, Jimin is also reported to earn a significant fixed income from his career as an artist, with an estimated base salary of around 8 million US dollars per year. It's the combination of active income from his music career and passive income from stock ownership that gives Jimin's financial foundation a much sturdier base than most idols his age. Now, let's zoom out a bit, because what's happening with Jimin, V, and Jungkook actually reflects a much bigger trend in Korea's entertainment industry. Over the past few years, more and more major entertainment agencies in Korea have gone public, listing on the stock market. Hybe is one of the most prominent examples given its global scale. When an agency goes public, its founders and executives typically grant shares to their most valuable assets, the artists who built the company's reputation in the first place. This creates an interesting new dynamic. In the past, K-pop idols were known simply as performers who earned salaries and royalties from album sales, concerts, and merchandise. Now, some of them also own a piece of the company they work under. They're not just employees anymore, they're stakeholders. This trend matters because it changes how we think about an idol's career. Their popularity no longer translates only into fame or short-term income from concerts and endorsements, but can also become the foundation for long-term wealth through corporate asset ownership. And as we've seen from Jimin's case, if managed with the right strategy, like holding on to stock for the long haul, the results can be substantial. This also carries an interesting message for younger generations following their favorite idols' careers. Real success doesn't always show up on stage under the spotlight. Sometimes, it's the quiet financial decisions made behind the scenes, like choosing not to rush and sell an asset, that end up shaping true long-term wealth. Before we wrap up, I think it's worth remembering the long road Jimin walked to get to this point. Remember, he started as a trainee at just 16 years old. Years of grueling practice, pressure to perform flawlessly, and uncertainty about his future career. All of that came before he finally debuted in 2013. Even after debuting, BTS's journey wasn't always smooth. They had to prove themselves in an extremely competitive K-pop industry, where hundreds of new groups emerge every year and only a handful manage to survive. Jimin also went through a fairly demanding personal chapter, including South Korea's mandatory military service, which every able adult male must complete. He just finished his service alongside fellow member Jungkook in June 2025. This means that even while he was busy fulfilling his military duty, the financial decision he'd made years earlier, holding on to his Hybe shares, kept working for him passively, continuing to grow in value without him having to do anything. This shows the real power of long-term investing. You don't have to constantly and actively manage your assets every single day to see results. Sometimes, the most impactful decision is simply the decision to be patient and not rush after short-term gains. So, what does all of this mean for the future of Jimin and BTS as a whole? First, it confirms that BTS isn't just a pop culture phenomenon. It's also an influential economic entity. When its members land on lists of their own country's wealthiest young investors, that speaks to the sheer scale of financial impact they've created, both for themselves and for their parent company. Second, this will likely reshape how other entertainment agencies in Korea treat their artists going forward. If the model of granting stock to artists proves successful at building loyalty and creating long-term wealth, as we've seen with BTS, don't be surprised if more agencies start adopting similar approaches for their artists in the future. Third, and this is the most personal takeaway, Jimin's story serves as a reminder that true success is often built from a combination of hard work in front of the camera and wise decisions made behind the scenes. Jimin spent years honing his skills as a dancer and singer, but the long-term wealth he now enjoys came from a financial decision he made and stuck with for years, far away from the spotlight. So that's the full story. From a boy in Busan who dreamed of becoming a dancer, Jimin grew into one of the most influential vocalists in the world through BTS. But behind all his achievements on stage, he was also quietly building a foundation of wealth through a simple yet effective investment strategy, accepting Hybe shares in 2020 and choosing not to sell them ever since. Along with V and Jungkook, he's now part of South Korea's top 100 youngest wealthiest shareholders list, each holding stock worth roughly 21.4 billion won. This story teaches us something important. Long-term financial success is often not about big, dramatic decisions, but about the patience to hold back and trust the process. What do you think? Was Jimin's strategy of holding his shares for over 5 years a smart move? Or do you think the members who diversified took a safer approach? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content about the other side of your favorite K-pop idols' lives, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.